Kelly.
And I'm Danny.
Welcome back to the ProCreatives podcast for moms who make things. The podcast for moms and future moms who are navigating their creative careers as they raise their little inspirations. Today's episode, we're speaking with an amazing creative and filmmaker, founder of Mom Film Fest and mom of one, Tonya Mollineau. Welcome, Tonya.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to speak with y'all.
And we're excited too. But before we get into it, we want to let the people know about you and your creative work. Danielle, tell us a little bit about Tonya.
All right. Tonya Mollineau is a New York-based mother, filmmaker, and director who writes and produces a lot of her own content. Her work showcases layered Black female characters while shedding light on social issues as they relate to the human experience. Her short film, Too Much Love, is being used in partnership with AIDS Healthcare Foundation with a PSA about HIV. Another short film, Travia, was named to honor Trayvon Martin and has been called a visceral response to police brutality. Mollineau's upcoming projects include 2 documentaries, one about the depiction of motherhood in media and the other about suicide within the Black community. There's also Tainted, a short film about a mother battling depression, and a dramedy feature film about surviving divorce called Getting Help. She is the founder of Mom Film Fest, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that serves as a career development and advocacy resource for moms working in film and television, with initiatives that create returnships for moms re-entering the workforce, supportive childcare solutions, and annual film festival. Mom Film Fest works to amplify the visibility of content made by moms in order to create job opportunities that will get moms back on set. Mollineau also started the Moms Network for New York women in film and television, where she is an active member and is also a member of the Black TV and Film Collective and Women of Color Filmmakers. Wow, you just got a whole, I love all of this. I'm like, where was this? It's so funny when you hear about all these things that you've created, right? Like, I'm like, where was this when I was going back to work, Because we all know we needed it, right? We didn't have like the support of the person, so I'm glad you're doing that. And I hope a lot of people listen to this and, get that from it, because we need the support and we need to know that it's out there for us.
Hey.
Thank
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I second that. Where are these resources? Are people doing more? Are we challenging these networks? Like, I know you started the Moms Network. Are we challenging these organizations to also support the mothers who might be in the midst? Well, we're going to get into that because we want all the information and the insights that you got. But first, we want to talk about your journey to motherhood. What was that like? Was it something where you were like, yeah, I just want to be a mom? Or were you like, well, here we are?
No. Growing up, I was the one who never wanted to have kids, didn't want to get married, any of that stuff. And then I met a nice guy and we got married and he wanted kids. And I was like, all right, I will just try this and see if it happens. And we had a little trouble. So we ended up getting an IUI, which is intrauterine insemination. And I was like, what are the odds that this is going to stick? And it stuck.
It was meant to be.
I guess so. I was like, that little girl was meant to be here. So that was how we ended up having her. But it wasn't something I was interested in at all. I still have my days where I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I mean, I love her to pieces. Obviously, she's my greatest creation ever. But it is hard doing this motherhood stuff. So
yes, it is.
I have those moments. I just want to turn that button off and not be mommy. But obviously, y'all know we can't do that.
We can't do it. And we all know we want that button too. Listen.
It should be allowed. Let us get like off duty for a few hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a button, a universal button, right? That we can use at any time. So what was your perspective? Obviously, you said when you were young, you're like, this, I don't know. I think we share those same sentiments, right? It was like a no. Like, I didn't really imagine that was something that I really wanted to be a part of. And here I am.
Yeah.
Here we all are, right? But what was your perspective on motherhood? Like, what were your thoughts about it before you entered it? What was your reasoning where you were like, I don't know if this is something, like, what was behind that?
Right.
Well, I saw that kids were holding the moms around me back. So I didn't want that. I wanted to travel the world. And at that time too, I was going to different states and seeing what fit and what made sense for me and where I felt like I belonged. Somehow I always ended up back in New York, y'all. I don't know what it is, but there's something about New York. And my family's here, so it just makes sense. And this is where I am. But to me, it just felt like I would not be able to move around freely. And that was something that and the whole like being pregnant thing, ew, no. It was definitely.
Ew, oh my gosh, some people love that phase.
Oh my goodness, no. Before I was a mother, no. And then when I was pregnant, I was like, this is just not right. But yeah, I think those were two of the main things, was seeing that. And my sisters had their kids pretty young. So that was part of it. It was like, no, I want to make sure that if I do that, I would be married for, I would do it the quote unquote right way.
Right.
There is no right way. You do it the way that works for you. But in my West Indian family,
of course,
it was like, oh, you need to, finish school, get married first, then you have kids. And that's the order that it goes in. So because
before boys, that's what it's called.
Yeah. Because my sisters did that so young, I was like, I'm going to be the one who does it. I follow this track if I do. To kind of please my family. And that didn't work. Y'all know how that goes. Nothing pleases your family.
That's right.
But yeah, it was just seeing them be so young and have kids. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with that. My oldest nephew is 10 years younger than me. So he was always like a little brother, and I had to babysit it, like it was hindering my freedom in my teens. And I was like, no, we're not doing this motherhood thing. Like, so I don't want to be responsible 24/7 for someone. And yeah, I still don't.
But now you're doing it. Like, so even though you felt as though like those were things that were like it was like a hindrance, right? But now you're doing it, and you're definitely inspiring other mothers now. Like, we're trying so hard to create a space where we're being creative mothers, and we're actively, doing it. And like, we're doing the thing. We're not being hindered, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. So tell us how you're doing that. Like, how are you doing that?
I don't really know. I think it's really just God is great all the time. That's really what I would have to equate it to. Like, there's really no thing that I look back at and I'm like, oh, this is how, this is why. It doesn't make sense that I am here doing this, and I haven't pulled all of my hair out yet. I still got a little bit of hair on my head.
Got a lot.
Like, that is so amazing. But I wanted to do this. I'm a single mother, right? It didn't start out that way. Got married, right? I told y'all, did the whole thing. It didn't work out the way that quote unquote it was supposed to, but I'm happy.
Very good. Very good.
It worked out the way it was supposed to work out for me. So I didn't plan on being a single mother. It's hard to try to do the creative work, try to be on set for all of these hours at a time. A lot of us are there 14-hour days, then you're commuting, that's a 16-hour day. And I was like, if I'm really going to be able to do this, I have to control the schedule. I have to have say in when we arrive, when we leave. If I need to bring my kid with me, I can bring my kid with me. So I think for me, that was the way that I saw a possibility of me staying here and not having to leave what I love, like so many of our moms do end up needing to do.
Yeah, I love that you are keeping it real. And I love that you're saying like, hey, this is, because often, especially on the social media of it all, there's a lot of a glamorous kind of, feeling. And it's, the reality is, while it is beautiful, it is also tremendously challenging. But anything worth having is, right? Like anything, it's just a different type of challenge. But I thank you for your honesty and just admitting, hey, it's rough out here in these streets.
It is.
Yeah.
it's rough hard in these streets.
But you're actively working to change that in the area that you function in as a filmmaker. How did you find your passion as a creative? Was that something that you were already doing before you had your daughter, or was that an after thing, or was it on the journey of motherhood that you found your passion?
So I always wanted to be in the industry. And there was a program when I was coming up in high school where you could go after school and learn film and TV production. But I thought I was too cool and cutting school. And, senior year, you're like going out, doing the things you're not supposed to be doing and missing school. So I never did it. And then my parents were like, oh, you need to make sure you have a career that will be sustainable. You need to go for business or for something else. But I ended up going for funeral services that I was just fascinated. I still think there is this beauty in grief, seeing like grown men breaking down and crying over someone that they've lost. And I always look at the person who's passed and I'm like, do you know how much you were loved and you were cared for? And so like, oh, that's just a beautiful thing. I want to do a experience around that. But I was like, I've worked so many different jobs trying to make it that I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to be doing and the thing that's going to make me money. And it's, going to have that stability financially. And it just didn't work. I would get these really great jobs paying me a lot of money. And I won't say, not a lot of money, y'all. Like, hold on. They were paying a decent salary.
Livable.
Salaries where I was at that point in my life. And I was like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right. And then I ended up working for a big cosmetics brand in retail. And that was my way into film. I started doing makeup for movies and commercials. And that was like my segue. And I got back in. And then I was working with a lot of younger teams, guys who wouldn't like really plan the schedule properly. And it was usually all men. And there was one project where they had everybody come in at the same time, whether we needed them for morning scene, night scene, all the actors, everybody, because they were just like, you get to make this film with us. You're here, you're on set. They didn't order lunch, like there were no meals. And we got to really late in the night and they were getting really upset because I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. I have a kid. Like I have to go. I can't stay here with you until 2 a.m. and make your movie. And they got really upset by that. And that's when I was like, you know what? I need to do my own thing, make sure that I can control time and what's happening. And when you're a mother, it's like, we love being here, but we also want to get in, get it done, and get out.
Yes, efficiency.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, you talked about your journey, and that journey led to why you started Mom Film Fest, right? And why you started creating and making your own work so that you can have the control of setting your schedule, And I know too, for myself, listen, we can't be, I've had to shoot things. Danielle has watched my kids for me just so I can shoot things.
Yeah.
But I can't keep my kid with the, 12, 14 hours with somebody else. I can't do it overnight. It's just really tough. And it's something that I think, I guess you could speak to this. Is the industry actually changing? And I don't personally see it, but I know you're in the midst of it trying to affect change.
We are here trying to affect the change. We do have colleagues in the industry who are parts of the different guilds and, they're on this parenting board and they're trying. I don't know that people are as receptive. And what I find with us is even when we reach out to other women-led organizations and we're saying, this is what we're doing. Like we need to do this for moms and this is where we're at and this is what we need. They will kind of brush us off and they're like, we're doing things for women. And I have to keep reminding folks, if you're not doing things for moms, you're not doing things for women. Let's just be clear there. We need different levels of support, and it's not always going to be the same amount of support. Like my daughter is now 13. So I'm here fighting for folks to come back into work, do what they need to do, usually with toddler age children or kids just entering school. It's not benefiting me, but I know that it's necessary. And I'm going to reach back and pull up the next up so they can get to where they need to go. I make my own content, but I really enjoy facilitating, helping other people make theirs too. Like, I don't say I'm a single mother because I want you to be like, oh, poor her. I want you to see that I'm doing it and get out there and go do it. Because the more of us that we have here creating our stories, especially when we're talking about projects surrounding motherhood, we need those authentic voices, because when I was going through everything I went through with my pregnancy, with postpartum, I was not seeing that anywhere. Nobody was speaking about it. So you feel like you're the only one dealing with it. There's something wrong with you.
Right.
And if we are controlling the narrative, that's not going to be the case.
See, so that the next question is the next question was, has motherhood enhanced or challenged your creativity? And it's already seen that it's enhanced it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I always tell Kellyanne this, I said, mothers should be hired for every like boss job there is, right? Because you basically said they didn't order lunch, didn't all these things. And motherhood has taught us to be efficient with our time, because we want to sleep, right? Okay. And they say sleep when the kid sleeps, but guess what? Everything else needs to get done. I'm not saying our spouses or our partners are forcing us, right? But like, you still got to eat. You still want to shower, so you have to be efficient within that time. So we already know that it has enhanced your creativity, but if you want to elaborate on how it has enhanced your creativity, please.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely a skill that has been added to my writing, to my work, to my way that I care for other people. That's the thing. So when I first met Kelly and found out that she had 15 kids.
Wait a minute. I will never forget that moment, by the way. Ever.
Well, I want to hear the story. Go ahead. Break it down.
I have one child. So anything over that, God bless y'all. It just feels like so much. So when you're trying to tell a mother that she can't manage, that she can't be in that C-suite and run teams, I'm like, hold on. So this mother, let's take Kelly, for instance, who is running her own schedule, her own mental health, her own doctor's appointments, activities. Then you include child 1, 2, 3, 4, spouse, family members, anybody else that she's taking care of. But you're going to say that you can't come and run a set?
Right.
Or manage a team? No, there is definitely something wrong with that. And that's why I try to just get moms to feel empowered and work together and support each other. It doesn't really matter what industry we're in, right? If you're a working mother, if you're a mom that's staying at home, we are all putting in these hours and raising these children. And that's where that power is. It's in the word mother. It doesn't matter what industry we belong to. That word mom is just really powerful. And I always gravitate to other women who are mothers, because I'm like, in some way, you see me, I see you. We've all been vomited on and on and peed on. And, there's just that level that you get it. So I want us to lean into that more and support each other as moms. And when I see another mother doing something, I'm like, yes, we're proud of you. Keep going. Because I know that once she's getting there and making her moves, I'm hoping she's back there pulling the rest up with her.
You talk about that a lot, Kelly.
Yeah, we definitely do. You had me rolling at the 15 kids, though.
Because I was like, what?
Right. Like you can, and because she was still functioning. And she inspired me so much, Tonya. You have no idea. Like, I remember, like, I was aspiring modeling before, didn't have representation. I was just trying, just figuring out, modeling world is just very much, it is what it, whatever. And then after I had my first, I was just kind of like, okay, well, you know what? I'm tired. I'm like, if it happens, it happens. I did not want to do it anymore. I was like, and then I'm freaking out about, postpartum has you really on high alert, a lot of things. And I wasn't really, nobody talked about it really. And so I was like, nobody watching my baby. Like, I don't even care who it is. I love my mom, but I'm like, I don't know if I want for such a long time. And I didn't want to miss anything. So it took time after I saw her and I was like, okay, I can do this. I can definitely do it. And, you build your community, you build your safe space, and you definitely have to knock down irrational thinking and push rational thinking. I'm just saying, listen, mental health is a real thing. Okay.
Yes.
And you just have to do it. You just got to make the steps. So go Kelly in the 15.
Yes, Kelly, thank you for inspiring us all with your 15, 17 kids.
Yes.
11 kids. Listen, hey, it is not easy, but that's why I'm encouraged by the work that you do, Tonya, is because there is support system. I'm not going to lie. Out of working in the film industry, particularly in South Florida, I have no friends that had children.
Yeah.
so they didn't understand, but they didn't understand. They knew I would show up and do the work and get the work done, but they didn't understand what it was actually
what it took.
Yeah. What it took for you to get there. Yeah.
To get there, to make it happen. And I'm so grateful I do have a supportive spouse, and that he was willing to hold the kids down anytime, day and night. But it is a lot. It is a lot. And I want to go back to something that you touched on really quickly, which was about the depiction of mothers. And this ties into what Danielle was just talking about with mental health and, after you have your child, and it's true. Where do you look and see this depiction of motherhood that's actually authentic, that's actually real, that's actually relatable? And we have an episode where we talked about moms in the media and that display not being completely accurate.
They too happy, Tonya. They too happy. They too rested. They have too much time. It's a lot of things.
Well, you have that. They're happy and rested. Or they're deranged. And, I just remember thinking of a lot of the moms who you would see in like their robe for 2 days. They haven't brushed their teeth, combed their hair. And I was like, that would never be me, darling. That lasted for like a week. Because my child will never smell my breath being funky. Like I will always be fresh. That didn't happen. And then I also had complications. I had a C-section. And the incision got infected. There was all these things going on that I had never known were possible. And I said, I suffered in silence for a long time. And then I finally reached out to one of my sisters and I said, this is happening. And she was like, oh yeah, that happened to me too. We kind of all go through it. And I was like, how come nobody says anything though?
Right.
And then I realized, well, if we said stuff, people would stop having children. So I think we wait until the people are part of the club and they were like, oh yeah, this gonna happen, that gonna happen.
Why? I think
that's it. I do think that's it.
But I think that's so messed up. Like, and it shouldn't, because there's so much beauty in motherhood, right? And even with all the scare, like I know there was a time where I was like, I knew that things could happen. I didn't know the magnitude. Obviously, once you get through it, it's a totally different thing, right? But I still think I would have wanted at least one, you know what I mean? And then there's a lot of reward with motherhood as well. But so I don't know why they don't want to tell us. Maybe they don't think we're going to further the population. But I just think it would have been great to hear. And people didn't have stories. Like you said, I had a C-section too. And I also had an early premature birth. And no one, you hear stories only after the fact. And I was like, I used to feel like something was wrong with me. Like, okay, did I cause this? Like, and there's a lot of guilt. And because your hormones are already like, help me, exactly. stay grounded. So please let us sit on the secrets, mothers. Please. That's why we're sharing it too. Okay. We tell it all.
But that was, I think, the beauty too of starting Mom Film Fest. We started it during the pandemic. I always wanted to do some sort of celebration of the moms in our community and who are filmmakers and out here doing these two really hard jobs of raising children and attempting to follow your dreams and make your films. But during the pandemic, when we were at home and everybody was stir crazy, and I was like, let's see if there are any takers and if anyone's interested. And there's a motherhood category. It's for mom themed. And all of our films, anybody can enter. You just have to have had a mom within a leadership position on the crew. Then you can enter your film. It can be about any genre. But I can always tell the films that have the most moms on their team because there's a way that they nurture the story, the way that they nurture the crew. And you can just tell there's like these little nuances that they'll include. And you're like, that is what it feels like. That is what happened to me. So it's definitely relatable. And I think we just need more of that to tell the true story so that people don't feel alone and you're not seeing that surface level, two-dimensional, we use the mom as the person to carry the story forward or to give birth to the hero and then she dies. Right. And it's like, oh, well, we no longer need you now. And we have to stop doing that. There's more to us. And we need to take credit when our kids do great things. I am definitely very good at that. And I only say that because when something challenging or bad or sad happens to our kids, we blame ourselves. So if you're going to do that, then I really would just ask you to also say, hey, my kid did something really great. And instead of saying that's a great kid, be like, I made that kid.
Right. That part. I like that.
I made that kid.
Yeah.
But I love that you just talked about how we blame ourselves, right? And I know for myself, there are times where I feel guilty and then my kid lays the guilt on top of it. And so it's like a guilt
they see
sandwich.
you doing it. Guilt sandwich.
Guilt sandwich.
A guilt sandwich, because, you know, I know that I have to go this place. You know, I'm in a show, so I have rehearsals 5 nights a week. Mommy, we don't see you anymore. But I've told you guys in the beginning, for 5 weeks, I have to be in these rehearsals.
Yes.
Okay? But when it's over, we'll get to hang again. But then internally, you also feel that, you know, am I making the right choices? Am I making the right decisions? Have you had to navigate that? I'm sure, but how do you navigate those feelings?
I try to remind myself that I enjoy the work that I'm doing and it's necessary. I do think there are those moments where if the kid is sick, oh, that really just hurts my heart. But I try to explain to her too, and she comes with me a lot. And she will boss around the crew. She's fired a couple of folks. So I love that she's there and she's around it. And of course, I would love for her to want to be in the arts, but she wants to do law. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, that's a lot of school. And it's so backwards, because shouldn't I be pushing her to go, you know?
Right.
But I'm like, no.
The island woman in you should be pushing that. Hello.
Because I want you to continue my legacy. Like, you know what I mean? Hello. Right. So I don't know. I just try to remind myself, and I remind her too, like, this is what I need to do for this amount of time. You know, I will be home at this time, but we'll do school review and, you know, ask her how her day was, just to kind of keep that some sort of a routine while I am working on those projects. But, you know, there are times when I need to go away and I'm out of state. And that's really hard, because you feel that guilt of like, should I be leaving? Like, what am I doing? And then they end up fine. You know, and she's 13 now. When she was younger, yeah, she wanted to be around mom so much. And now she's like, are you leaving? Like, when's the next time you're going on a trip? And I'm like, oh, okay. So they go through their stages and phases. We go through our stages and phases. That is something that we have to remember, y'all. I just had a milestone birthday. So did my kid. And I was like, yeah, you know, people will give her that grace of, oh, she's going through hormonal changes and she's dealing with this and she's dealing with that. And I'm like, yeah, but I am too. Growing because I became a mom. Like, it's quite the opposite.
Yes.
Wow. You know, I love that you said that. I keep saying I love that, because I actually absolutely am loving what you're saying. It's honest, it's true, it's real, and that's something that we are very much about. But you just talked about the growing, the phases that we're growing through. And you're right, we don't stop growing, especially as women. There are phases that we are pre-menopause. I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay, then there's menopause. Then there's, you know, all those changes that your body is experiencing. And, you know, we have to be gracious with ourselves and give grace to ourselves. And I think, to your point, that helps alleviate the guilt, right? I'm being gracious with myself. I'm not running away from my children.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I'm doing this work that fulfills my soul, and in filling my soul with the work that I'm passionate about, it actually inspires. Just like in the beginning, you were saying you saw women who were giving up their dreams for their child. And it's like, no, now your daughter is seeing, hey, a child will not ever hold me back.
Yes.
I'm the one that can hold me back. Only me.
Yes.
You know,
go for it. Live that dream, do that thing, because they are definitely watching us. And, you know, I've seen the women who carved out those years of their lives to raise the children and focus on that. And now they're late 40s, early 50s, trying to come back in. And society's like, yeah, no, thanks. We're not interested. Like, what life experiences could you possibly be sharing? We would rather hear from the 20-year-old recent college graduate, because we think that their experiences matter more,
which is
and are
crazy.
more relatable. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like, we've got to stop this shaming of women and shaming of mothers and the guilt and the like that should be something, if I want to take 3 or 4 years off and raise my kid during those really important formative years, I should be able to do that. It shouldn't be something that is looked at as it's shameful or, I always talk about the cinematographers who I've seen quite a few of them who have to take a few years off because they want to be with their kids. And now when they try to come back in, the industry is like, oh, well, you can come in as a PA, and like work your way back up. But that's a skill set. They're not forgetting how to operate cameras, and
seriously,
it doesn't go away. They might need a refresher. They can shadow someone for a month or two and get reacquainted with new tech and all the updates. But, when you become a mother, does it take away from everything else that you are or will evolve into? I don't think so. But we're in this weird space of that's what American society will have us believe. And we have to challenge those narratives. And, as you have 3 Black moms sitting on this call, there's that extra weight of mothering while Black that we carry as well. And we have to have these conversations, talk about it, and see each other and be like, you good? I got you. Like, I know what you're going through. I've been there in some way. All our journeys are different, obviously, but they're very similar at the same time.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have to choose. We shouldn't have to choose. That's horrible. Yeah.
We shouldn't have to. And as you were talking, I was thinking about Serena and, completely different industry, but she was #1 in the world, went and had a baby. Okay, first of all, played while pregnant.
Listen.
Trained while pregnant. And had to basically restart in a sense. And we already know she's the best that ever did it.
Oh my goodness.
Why would she need to lose her ranking for all of that time that she put in just because she had a child?
Right.
It's really, really, I don't have any other word than disgusting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. And, it's interesting because there will be these moments that happen, these trendy things. And I have a lot of members of the community who will send me a cute commercial or a clip of a film or something. And I'm like, who made this? Like, if y'all are going to send me something, I need you to do your research and tell me, did they have moms on the team? And I'm not talking about agency side of making a commercial or making an ad. Do you have the moms in there filming it? Are they editing? Are they doing the sound? Like, because if you're making all these things that you're targeting us and you're marketing to us, you should be using us. And I'm not saying take the jobs away from the white men or anyone else on the
Nobody is saying that.
It's never about them, or it's about them. And so we need to be included in that storytelling. Yeah, on so many different levels, right? But I think that mom word is really one that is going to be so impactful when we all just get together and we're like, wait a minute, hold on. This isn't right. I don't agree with this. Like, we really need to support each other and have these programs in place that will make sure that moms can continue to thrive and continue to raise these children. Because if we stop doing that, then y'all gonna be screwed. So,
yeah.
And you said too, you've been saying so many incredible things, but you mentioned, the stories, right? Like, let's take the 20-year-old, not the person who has the breadth and the depth of experience and life. I think of myself, as a writer, as an actor. Had I not had this journey of motherhood, I wouldn't have different places to pull from.
Right. Yeah.
It's the experiences that I've had that help to make me better in all of those areas.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely something that we learn from. I think when you become a mom too, like you said, you use that experience, and there's just a different level of nurturing other people, and, you want to help and support, and suddenly you realize it's not only about you. And it doesn't just transfer to your kid, it now transfers to your community. And I know for me, it definitely opened my eyes and made me care for others in a better way. So I'm definitely thankful for that.
You keep saying that, and I find it so important. Like you said, that you can tell when mothers create a film, because you can see the nurturing, you can see how they care for the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so real. Like, I've always considered, like, my mom, we grew up, Caribbean home, very much like open the doors, everybody come in, who wants to eat? Okay. Always thought I was pretty caring and, supportive or whatever. But as a mother, I see myself definitely being more compassionate and seeing people as people, right?
Yeah.
And giving them grace because of that. And I think it's important for people to understand, when you give people grace, you're not babying them, but when you're giving them the opportunity to be a person, there's something they feel appreciated. And feeling appreciated, they produce a different quality of work. And people don't get that. They think that they need fair and they need an intimidation. But appreciation, listen, that's a whole nother level. And we got it. The moms got it.
Yes. Yes, we do.
I like it.
Oh, do you want to, I know you've already kind of touched on Mom Film Fest and why it started, and it's, I see it, and I'm sure you do too, as so much more than just a film festival. It, to me, is a movement. It's a movement to transform, to change this industry, and in all facets of it. And you mentioned making space for moms, and I see that, like, if you're doing a commercial that's for mothers, why not pull some mothers in, I've seen people, it's a crew of men.
Yes.
The script for the commercial was written by men, by a man.
Yeah. It's just interesting. But that's how we get, like, the woman in the robe that I was talking about before with the disheveled mess. And, it's either that or she's sitting up with her feet kicked up and she's eating bonbons. Like, bonbons. That might be like a generation.
No, that's okay. Chocolate.
Yeah. It's like, we need to, there's this one commercial where the little girl is like using the potty and the mom, she's saying she's done and she isn't done. And the mom is like, oh, so cute. I'm like, man, I'd be like, get your little, like you have to have those true moments. You run out of patience with the kid who thinks it's cute to sit on the potty for 5 minutes.
10 hours. Yeah.
Get up, wife, let's be done. Let's move it along here. Okay.
That's so funny.
But we just need like that realness, and showing what is really happening as moms. And when you're having that day where you just don't have the patience for the kid, or, when you're not feeling good and you still have to be a mother.
Oh, that's when I be wanting the button. Just shut it all down. Everybody take care of themselves. I'm on break.
Nope, you go hide in the closet and they find you.
Oh gosh, they find you. They got like a heat-seeking equipment to find you.
Right.
And they always do.
Yeah,
they always find you.
But I think, like, I'm trying to imagine a commercial, like, especially with working with kids. You would think I would obviously go for a mother type, because when you're working with children, or even like somebody who works with children, like, because working with children takes special work. You can't just shove sweets at them and expect them to do what you want. So if you have a relationship, if you know how to work with children, once again, it goes back to efficiency, right? You can get this thing done because you have the right people in place to make sure it gets done.
Yeah.
It just seems like the common sense thing, right? But
it does. And I've worked with a couple of kids on some of my films, and you have to have that understanding of what a kid is dealing with. If you aren't normally around kids, or, this is your first time and you're trying to understand what's happening, you're going to lose your mind. You're not going to be able to sit there and get the performance out of them that you need, or, it takes that skill set of being able to understand some of what the kid is going through and all these different ages. And that's something that we need to give moms credit for, that's definitely a skill. So we need credit for that. Give credit, take credit, all that good stuff.
So So we're coming close to the end of our time. We have 4 minutes left. So we can
Okay.
make it a little bit extra, but we want to get to some fun stuff. So we leave it a little bit light.
Okay.
But thank you. You've said so many things that I think resonate with myself. I'm sure Danielle as well, and just bringing clarity about what's actually happening and the work that you were trying to do to bring the change that we do need to see.
Yeah.
Because people sometimes, I have friends, obviously I have a lot of friends who are in the entertainment industry who do not have children and who ultimately do want families, but are either, I heard the dating pool has pee in it. So they're dealing with that.
Right. But they wanted, people also, asking what's the benefits of motherhood too, right? Remember I told you that girl asked the question. So we got to show them.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't want my kid who says, "Oh, I don't want babies," and I'm because we're looking at shows or a kid will vomit or something will happen, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." But I want her to be in a space for her generation where she doesn't have to choose between motherhood or career. There are already systems in place that will support whatever path she decides to go down. So, we gotta make sure our generation is good. Like they're doing so much for the next generation of leaders is what I've had a couple of companies say to me, like, oh, we're not really focusing on that. We're focusing on the next and the younger. And I'm like, yeah, but you have to take care of the people raising that next generation for you. So let's not forget that. But yeah, like it shouldn't have to be an either or.
That's good. I mean, that conversation, right? Where the next generation, there's like this middle gap of people who are getting forgotten by the industry.
Yep.
And all the opportunities are coming to the people who are fresh and just graduated college and new and not the people who have been even in the indie space who might want to get into the more traditional, that's not even the word, but they're in the indie space and they want to transition. I'll just say the corporate space. And those opportunities are not necessarily for people in the middle. They're for the beginner and the person who just graduated college. Yeah, great opportunities for them. But to your point, people are being forgotten. People who have the work, who have the skill set, who have been doing hard work, who have the experience, but are not getting, who are not being supported. Those just regular people, but also moms.
Right.
Because it's always going to be about the moms for us.
As it should be. Take care of the mom, we take care of everybody else.
There you go. We still listen. I'm always taking care of people. Like I'm always mothering people. It just turned on. It doesn't turn off.
No. But like once you pop that first kid out, the switch just.
I'm wiping. You got a little something on your face.
All right. What an amazing conversation, Tonya. You definitely dropped some knowledge, some insights. You're fantastic. And moms first all day, every day, period.
Every day.
But right now we want to get into some fun stuff. We want to get into your brain a little bit and see what's going on up there.
So Danielle, share with us. Yes, please share with us your favorite TV or movie mom.
Ooh, okay. So it'll be a little controversial, but
as long as it's not Mommy Dearest.
That's exactly it.
Who is Mommy Dearest? Now I'm like, I feel so.
So let me tell y'all, when I was a kid,
I want to hear what you got to say.
Right. So it is Mommy Dearest. When I was a kid watching that, I remember crying with Christina when her mom was like, "No wire hangers," and like, hitting her with the hanger. And then I watched it a couple of months ago, in doing research for the documentary. And I looked at it from the angle of me being a single mother, me buying my daughter these pretty things that she doesn't care about, doesn't take care of. And I was like, So I had a moment there where I related to this mother that I feared when I was younger, growing up watching it. But now as a mother, I mean, not hitting the kid with the hanger, but I could understand where she was coming from, getting enraged. And because I'm like, buy this stuff all the time. And So yeah, I'm gonna use Mommy Dearest as my favorite.
Okay, hey,
Be
we're gonna
mom
let
at
you
this
be.
moment.
I'm
Judge
about to
me
watch
if
it
you
again.
won't. I'm about to go watch.
Watch
Like I
it
feel like
again. Yeah.
I think I saw it like years ago, but I don't remember it. So I'm gonna have to go and watch it again. Listen, I might relate too. Who knows?
Yeah, listen.
Okay.
Because I know if my kids in their clothes right now, I know you did. I just got that for you last week.
Ooh.
There's no way that you already done messed it up.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not buying you anything ever again. You gonna wear those same pants you wore at 5? You better wear them at 16.
Not 16. Oh gosh,
I can't.
I'm kidding. I think if it still fits.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's what I say.
Ooh. Okay, listen, you know what? Moving on. Okay. What is your favorite thing about being a mom? Or what's your least favorite as well?
I think my least favorite is when she gets sick and, I just have to drop everything else or try to shift things around and figure out how to make sure that she's taken care of. That's just my least favorite. And the loss of freedom in general is a really hard one for me. I think, because remember, I was telling y'all, like I used to move around and that's what I was accustomed to. And then when I had this kid and she had to start school and I was like, so this means we have to stay in one place. Like that was really depressing to me. Not being able to pick up and hang out with the friends who don't have kids who were like, let's go get a drink. And I'm like, I need to plan it like a couple of weeks in advance. I can't just pick up and go. So loss of freedom is definitely a big one. And then my favorite thing.
Yes.
I think, I just have moments of watching her when she doesn't know I'm watching her and she'll laugh at something. And I'm like, this kid is so gorgeous. She's so intelligent. Yeah. And she's really, it's hard, but I've got a really great child. So I am really blessed.
Yes. Oh, watching your handiwork. I love that.
Yes. Watching your
that I made. Okay.
Yes. There you go.
Thank you. Okay.
By yourself. Okay.
Just making sure we're all on the same
page. All right. So now tell us a funny or sweet story involving your child and work.
Oh, a funny or sweet story. Yeah. So she was on set with us. I think she was probably 8 or 9 at that point, 7 or 8. And our first AC was not doing what my daughter thought she should have been doing. My daughter really wanted the job that the AC was doing. So she decided she was going to fire her and, she wasn't going to be coming back anymore. And I'm like, yeah, you can't go and sit your little tail down. Like, you can't.
Oh, no, she did it. I wish I was a fly on the wall.
That was my, I still will always remember that moment. And I was like, she's a boss, but you just gotta be nice to people. Like, you can't just be firing them because you want their jobs.
Oh my God.
Wow. Because she wanted their job.
Yes. She wanted the job.
Thoughts on nepotism. This is a quick segue, but what are your thoughts on nepotism? I got my thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts.
I see all of them doing it and I'm like, you're damn right. I want to be in the space to do the same thing. So
yes,
I'm with it. I'm waiting for the big project that I can pull my sister in on because she does accounting. And I'm like, let's get you a job. Yeah. I mean, I pull the same people in to work on my films, whether it's a smaller budget, a bigger budget. I'm not gonna, now we're getting, tens of millions. So we're gonna change and get these people who should get a higher pay rate. Like you kind of work with the folks who work with you and then enhance their skill set and help them grow and build. So, I mean, I think that's probably also a form of nepotism, not necessarily familial, but
right.
I'm gonna help you out. And I have people who do the same thing. For me, Joanna White Oldham is the co-founder of Mom Film Fest, and she is very much one of those people who's like, when I get something, I'm pulling y'all in. And so our feeling is just like, if I'm eating, everybody's eating. So we really try to support each other and work together that way. So yeah, if I know you, I like you, you're one of my people, I'm going to try to make sure
I'm going to put you on.
Yeah, I think once you know the job, and I don't think anything's wrong with putting somebody in a position that does the job well, and you have a good working relationship. That's that's great.
Yeah.
Efficiency again.
You brought up a great point, Danielle. That is the only time when I have an issue is like, because I will hear the stories of someone bringing their cousin in who just needed a job, had no interest in the industry whatsoever. And I'm like, you could have gave that to somebody who needed, that's the only time I take issue. But other than that, I'm like, I'm gonna hire my people and make sure they're getting paid. That seems like what we should be doing.
Yeah, same. I totally 100% agree with that. I'm trying to make space for my kids.
Yeah.
You want to be in the arts? Come on, be in this, do that. Yeah. Much like you, Tonya, I brought my kids on set when I created a theater production. I had those kids in rehearsals. I had them. I wrote something and I had them perform.
I love it.
Yes.
Bringing them into it, because also they can see what the possibilities are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely about that. If you want to do this and I see you're trying to pursue it, I'm going to hold that door open. I'm not going to close the door on my own child.
Right. If I can help you, I'm definitely going to help you. Oh, and really quick too, when they talk about Kris Jenner and she's pimping out her kids, I'm like, wait, so a stranger should be getting a percentage of her children's money that she gave birth to, that she's raised,
right.
No, if my kid is making millions, I'm getting my percentage.
Yeah, I'm gonna manage. Oh yeah, I'm already, because they still coming as a parent, and whatever the relationship is. I know I call my mom all the time, and I'm like, "Mommy, this happened at work, or this bothers me." So she need to get paid for that. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're gonna look out for your kid in a different way than you know. So yeah. Sorry, I had to throw that.
No,
in.
It's okay. That's good.
No. And obviously you're talking, that's kind of a controversial take, but I think too, to your point, that's their mother, in a sense. Yes, she will look out for them, and she's been momming them their whole life.
Right. Yeah. That's their dynamic. That's their family. That's their business. Yeah. Their family, their business. That's what I say.
All those kids.
All those kids, all those percentages of all those deals. Bring it.
Just her raising all those kids.
Yeah.
Period. That's a lot of work. I don't care if you have 3,000 nannies.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
3,000 nannies.
No, because listen, I'm not gonna lie. I want at least a nanny and a maid. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But my kids are past that point now. But they're not past it, but they're fully sufficient.
Okay, good.
But no, we need to. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Mothers need to get paid for just being mothers.
Facts on facts.
We do. I'm saying they. We
need a tax break for sure.
Yeah, tax break for moms. Period. But anyway, we're getting off track. I'm probably going to cut that whole section up on the line because we just went off the rails.
I'm sorry. Final question. Let me do the final. You want to do the final question, Kellyanne, or you want me to do it? Okay.
What is the final question?
The final question is, what encouraging words can you share with a creative mom?
Keep going.
Oh, I love it.
That's it. You can't give up on your dreams and your goals. Find your people. I had a couple of filmmakers who came to me upset that they didn't get into certain programs and festivals. I won't say what they were. And I asked them, what were the stories that you were submitting? What were the scripts and what were the themes? And they were like, oh, motherhood. And I was like, those people don't want you. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but they are not interested in these stories. You have to find the people who care about that and who can relate to it. So find your people and keep going.
Hopefully one day somebody, while they submit, somebody will be sitting there pregnant, freaking out, and then say, you know what, this spoke to me, and take it through. We're going to keep going until it pushes through, okay?
Because that's it. You think about the industry at large, and most of the people who are there at the gates, so to speak, are not moms.
Nope.
And so, of course, that perspective, it won't have value to them, because maybe a murderous mother might have a mother that goes on a serial killing spree.
Yeah.
That might have
Because
interest,
they're
but
looking for the same stereotypes that we've been seeing. So now if you're
correct.
telling a story that veers off that course and is more authentic and true, in their minds, they're like, this wouldn't really happen. Like, this isn't really what goes on here, especially if you're not a mother, like it doesn't make sense. So yeah, it's important that moms are the gatekeepers. They get to have a say in who's getting to be approved and get into the programs. So yeah, we've got to.
And even if not, forget them. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in like a like, forget them type of way, but I look at what you're doing and I'm like, that is so inspiring and encouraging to be in a space where you're seeing moms create funny, dramatic, stories that run the gamut of our experiences. And not that all of the films are, about moms, but the fact that they are by moms with their lens means so much.
That is the beauty of it. I say we have these beautiful films. Some of them are about motherhood, some of them aren't. Yeah. And that's just the way that it should be. But it's the fact that we are out there creating and we're doing the damn thing. So let's support each other. You see a mom, promoting her project, or give it a like, give it a share. Yeah. Just that support is really helpful. And it means a lot to our creators too.
Tonya, thank you so much for being here with us. We're so appreciative of the person that you are, the mom that you are, the creative that you are. We are so, so grateful that you've sat at the table with us. Let us know how people can connect with you to find more about the work that you're doing to support, empower, and encourage creative moms. How can we connect?
Me personally, I am on social media as Tonya Mollineau. And then for Mom Film Fest, we are on social, LinkedIn, all those good places as Mom Film Fest. Website, same, my name, TonyaMollineau.com or momfilmfest.org.
And is anything happening with Mom Film Fest that we need to know about or we need to keep our eyes peeled about?
Yes, our submissions for Mom Film Fest, our 4th annual festival, will open April 7th through June 4th. And then we are working on creating a residency for moms who are creators. And in that residency, we will also make a short film. So we're going to be crowdfunding, raising money, looking for sponsors, all that good stuff. So keep an eye out for all of that. Ear out, eye out, that good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We'll definitely have all of that information in the notes below the description. So you'll be able to connect with her. Tonya, thank you again so, so very much.
Thank you for having me.
We really enjoyed it.
Yes, we enjoyed every bit of it.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you for listening in. Catch us weekly on Spotify and Amazon Music. Leave a review and follow us on Instagram and Facebook to get more information and inspiration on motherhood and making things. Have a question or comment? Send us an email at theprocreativespodcast@gmail.com. Once again, theprocreativespodcast@gmail.com.
This episode is powered by The Jordans Create. The Jordans Create is a production company built by creatives and for creatives to help you execute your vision. The Jordans Create provides creative consulting and production services ranging from film and event production, editing and writing support, and creative direction. If you have an idea and need support, we are here for you. Send us an email at thejordanscreate@gmail.com.